This is Dennis Brown with TKR Studio, and welcome to 5-Minute Photoshop. In the previous lesson, we took these two images of a park scene from Savannah, Georgia, and combined them in Photoshop to make this composite image. Today, I just want to quickly first switch over to Photoshop Elements and show you that those same layer blending modes that we saw yesterday in Photoshop are available in Elements, and they're accessed the same way by opening this list, and you'll see most of the blend modes are there. There are a couple missing in Elements that do appear in Photoshop. For example, in this grouping, Photoshop also has divide and subtract blending modes in addition to difference and exclusion. I wouldn't worry too much about those blending modes not being in Elements. They're not used very often, and you'll probably never miss them. Going back to Bridge, I want to open this composite image in Photoshop, and here it is. And the first thing we're going to do is combine all these layers into one. There's a keyboard shortcut that I use a lot to do that. It's Shift, Control, Alt, E. Yes, it's a 4-finger shortcut. On a Mac, that would be Shift, Command, Option, E. And you'll see what it did was to create a new layer that contains all this layer information, everything below it. So if I turn these 3 layers off, nothing changes. We've got the whole image there, right there. I want to duplicate this layer. I'll press Control J or Command J and make a copy of it. And we're going to convert this image today into a duotone, and that's going to help us illustrate a couple of additional blending modes. First thing I'll do, and there are many ways to convert this to a duotone, but I'm going to show you one way right now. We're going to apply a hue and saturation adjustment layer. I'm going to select Colorize. I'm going to bump up the saturation quite a bit, and I want to give this image a bit of a golden color, something like that. And there it is. I'll combine this saturation layer with the one below it by pressing Control E, or that would be Command E on Mac. And now you can see that we've completely washed the image in this golden yellow color. And that's okay. It's not a bad look, but it's not the look I was going for. And we can use blending modes to make this better. First of all, near the bottom of the list you'll see hue and color. They're often used interchangeably, but they're not the same thing. Color is usually defined to include saturation plus hue, where hue is simply the color without the saturation. If I set the blending mode of this upper layer to color, you'll see a subtle change as compared to normal. Normal is completely opaque, where we're getting a complete wash of the color. But color mode is a little more subtle, and I like that better. However, if we look at the hue blending mode, the effect becomes more subtle yet. And I happen to like this effect. We've got some blacks, grays, and whites, and just some of that gold color appearing very subtly in parts of the image. And I like that effect a lot. We can also make this a little more dramatic. If I go to this lower layer, and I'm going to hide the upper layer for a minute. This lower layer is still in color. If I increase the contrast of this lower layer, let me just simply do it with this adjustment. I'll just increase contrast this way, and let's say I'll make it a little brighter, a little more contrasty. So we bumped up the brightness and contrast, and I'll just Control E to get that adjustment down to this layer. Now when I go back to this upper layer, you'll see that the image has taken on more contrasty appearance, it's got more pop, and I think it's an improvement still. Over in Elements, let's switch over to Elements. I'll press Alt-Tab repeatedly, and there it is. I've got this image, same image open, and I can use that same keyboard shortcut, Shift, Control, Alt, E, or Shift, Command, Option, E, to make this new composite layer, and then Control J or Command J to make a copy of it. And we can, in Elements, to change this upper layer's color, we go to Enhance, Adjust Color, and Adjust Hue Saturation. And we've got that same Colorize checkbox. I'll pop up the saturation, give it that golden color that I wanted, and change this blend mode to, let's go to Hue. That's my preferred blending mode. There we go. And you can see that we've got pretty much the same exact look in Elements that we obtained in Photoshop. That's it for today. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you next time.